Hey, it's Foxy. So I put a poll up on my Instagram about what you would like to see as my first video back. I just wanted to do like a nice sit down chilled video, talk to you. And I've only had it up a few hours, but it was basically a tie between am I competing again this year and an update on my little boy. Um, so I honestly get asked this question. So many times a week that I thought I would um, start with this one. So, am I competing again this year? So, I competed as a bikini bodybuilder in 2018 and 2019. I only did 2 seasons, I only did 2 shows. So, my first one I did 2 bros in Coventry, and my second one I went big, go big or go home. I did Amateur Olympia, which was amazing, in Alicante, also amazing. And yeah, after the 2019 show, which was in June, I fell pregnant unexpectedly, but not an accident, a nice surprise, in like the end of August. So then obviously I had my pregnancy journey and then my postpartum journey. We was in lockdown in 2020 that went on forever. So yeah, after having my son, I did most of my workouts. Well, actually, for 2.5 years, I did all my workouts at home. We didn't have childcare. We was in lockdown at some of it. So yeah, and I did see really good progress with that. And then in September last year, he went to nursery and I managed to get myself back into the gym more regularly. So I'm able to go like sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a week. And my progress had plateaued when I was doing home workouts, kind of. And like my diet was good, but I wasn't like really on it. I wasn't like focused. And then since he went back to nursery, I've been more on it with my diet and I've just been way more consistent with the gym and obviously pushing heavier weights. There's different machines. There's different like variations of stuff I can do. And I have seen really good progress since September. So, am I competing? Um, so I won't lie, once you've competed, I'm not one of these people, like there's so many people I see on Instagram now that are like, competing ruined my life, bodybuilding ruined my life, like sharing all horror stories. I'm not like that. So I got interested in bodybuilding when Jodie Marsh did bodybuilding, which was in 2011. So I am like an OG bodybuilding fan. And I've loved it for years and years and years and years. And like, honestly, competing is one of those things. It was like one of the best things in my life in many ways. It's so rewarding. Like, you're literally pushing yourself to the limit. But I feel like you feel really proud of yourself, and because you're pushing so hard in that aspect, like you feel like motivated to push in other aspects of your life as well, whether that's your job, your friends, that kind of thing. So I really loved competing. I'm not one of these people that like slags it off. Hang on, where am I going with this? So yeah, I did really enjoy it. I got into bodybuilding in 2011 and literally was at shows every weekend cheering people on. I just never committed to it until like 2017, 2018. I feel like if you're going to do bodybuilding, you have to be in a good place. Like your lifestyle has to fit bodybuilding. So when I did compete, I had a really like stable job that was like I could do my cardio before the gym, before my job. I could do my weights after my job. Like I could take my meal prep to work. I had time to meal prep. I had a loving relationship. Still am in a loving relationship with his support. I had no like high demands. I didn't have a child then. I didn't have a stressful job. I didn't have like any money worries. Like bodybuilding at that point slotted into my life very easily. And yeah, it was amazing. I was so chuffed and proud of myself that I finally got to stage after all those years of wanting to do it. And still now, I believe like my hyper focus, my passion, my hobby is bodybuilding. I still follow all the bodybuilding shows. I still love it when like people I know compete. I think it's the most exciting thing ever. Love following people's journeys. Don't get me wrong, there is a darker side to bodybuilding, and it can really, really, really affect people's mental health. And I see it so much on social media that girls will compete and be top of the world, but after that show, it comes crumbling down, and you can see like the effect it has like on their mental health. Like, that's sad to see. So it's not all like, woo, bodybuilding is the best thing in the world. So for me, yeah, I felt I went from competing in June 2019, having the best physique I've ever had, to be honest, to then getting pregnant at the end of August. So my body changed a lot. I didn't gain loads of weight in pregnancy. I was still training, still eating well, because that's just me. That's what I enjoy to do. So it's not like I gained loads. And I didn't find my body changing in pregnancy difficult. Like, I actually enjoyed pregnancy and thought it was cool I was growing a baby. But like, I did kind of expect to bounce back, because I was an athlete after all. I knew I was a PT. I knew how to get my body back in shape. Like, I'd done it. Like, I didn't think it would be as hard as what it was. So yeah, it was more, I was never upset about my body. I was happy that my body had grown a baby, and I could see it for what it was. But that shock of, wow, my body is definitely not the same anymore. Postpartum, yeah, it took a while to get used to. But like I said, I did my home workouts, ate reasonably well, managed to lose the weight. It's just my body composition was a lot different. And if you had asked me then, are you going to compete? Like, I just couldn't fathom ever getting my body back to that again. Like, it felt a million miles away. It felt like, I know that anything is possible if you put your mind to it, but it felt like I was here and competing was. But like I say, I got back into the gym in September and things were going well, and my body is responding really well. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not actually a million miles away from competing. If I wanted to compete in 2024, I think I could. So I'd gone from like here to competing being out of sight to actually, if I've got the time now that my son's at nursery, I know that I can diet. I've got that willpower, that motivation, that dedication. I've got time to do cardio now. I've got time to get my workouts in. It wouldn't be easy, but I'm here now, and competing it's actually in sight if I wanted to do it. And don't get me wrong, it's crossed my mind a lot of times. So when the girls were getting ready in prep for Olympia, which is the biggest show in the world every year, I was watching all their vlogs. I was watching Jennifer Dory, Phoebe Hagen, Amy Delgado, Ashley Coltvasser, like all those girls at the top of bikini. I was watching all their vlogs and I was getting really excited. I watched the Olympia and I was like, oh, like I can't explain to you how much like bikini is in my blood, like how much it excites me, and watching it, like it just fascinates me. I don't know why. It's like a bit of a wild thing to be fascinated with, but yeah, it's always something. So I know people that compete and they wouldn't even be able to name you like the top bikini girls in the UK or in the world. They're doing it for themselves, but like I have a genuine interest in it. So yeah, that was when I was getting fired up and thinking, maybe I could do it next year. So I was like kind of on the fence. My partner, he has always been like, please don't do it again. He is so supportive and would support me in whatever I chose to do. But I think like deep down, he was always like, please don't put your body through that again. And even like at the start of this year, he said to me, well, you're looking like in good shape now. Like, if you wanted to compete again, I'd give you like more time that you needed. Like, I'd fully support you. Um, is it something you wanted to do? And I was like, what? Because it was something that was in my mind. I was like, oh, I don't want to like tell him until like I've definitely made my mind up. In case he was like, oh no, I don't think you should. I didn't want him to like try and put me off. And I was like, what? So even he's saying you should compete. So it was still like floating around in my head. But I was like on the fence. And if you know anything about bodybuilding, you have to be full in, 100% in, dedicated. You cannot miss a beat. You have your tick boxes you have to tick off every day. That's steps, cardio, diet, meal prep, weight training, posing practice. Like, you cannot miss a beat. So you have to, it has to be something you really, really want to do. You can't like be half-assed, half in. I guess it's like if you were training for a marathon and you was like a beginner and you had to start doing all the running practice. You can't like be skipping your like training and like not paying attention to your diet. You can't just turn up on the day. Like, it's one of these things, like, you have to be ticking those boxes every day. It has to, it's hard as well. It's really hard. It has to be something you really want. And your reason why has to be there, like pushing you on those hard days. So if it's not something you're 100% invested in, you're not going to tick all those boxes on the hard days. You're just going to be like, is this something I really want to do? So yeah, that's the answer for now. No, I'm not competing this year. It does still float around in my mind. So there's other reasons as well. So the sport of bodybuilding is just evolving and evolving and evolving. Like, if you look at bikini in 2010 compared to now, wow, those girls are leaner now. They've got a lot more muscle now. Like, I think in 2010 you just had to look nice in a bikini. Like, it was more like a beach body, whereas now they have muscle, a lot of muscle. They're still absolutely tiny, but comparing that to that, it's like worlds apart. So I last competed in 2019, which is what, 5 years ago now. And like, even from then, the level, the amateur level, the bar is like up here. And I was never, I can say this, and I am a confident person and I fully believe in myself. I'm not arrogant or anything like that, but I know when I'm good at something. I know when I have to work at something. I was never brilliant at bodybuilding. So in my first show, I came third in beginners and fifth in like open. The show wasn't that busy. The standard in the open was good, to be honest. So I was shocked I came fifth. But it wasn't like elite amateurs. So I'm not taking anything away from myself. Like, I'm proud I got those medals and I did look good. Amateur Olympia is where girls fly in from around the world to try and win their pro card. So there was 3 bikini pro cards up for grabs. So the best of the best amateurs were competing there. And I did stick out a little bit, to be honest. I still came, what did I come? 4th in beginners, or like novice, they call it. And I think in my height category, there was something like 28 girls, and I came something like 23rd, so I wasn't like bottom. But I looked good. My physique, you don't always compete to win. Like, I knew I wasn't going to win. I knew I was never in for a chance of getting pro card, but you don't always compete for that reason. Sometimes you compete just to better yourself because you love the journey. I absolutely love prep and like really like pushing yourself to the limits. And for me, yes, I probably did better in terms of medals in 2018, but 2019, my physique had improved, and that was a win for me. And just getting to stage day, which is hard as it is, and getting on stage was brilliant, and it was a great experience. But I was never like, there's girls like year in, year out are this far away from their pro card, and they deserve it so much. Like, I feel like if that had been me, I would have more of like a drive, like, oh, that was something I was really good at and I want to like pursue it. That's not to say, I know now I have got more muscle now, and my physique would be improved since 2019. So that would be a win for me. Getting on stage after having a baby, that would be a win for me. Like, proving to myself I can do it would be a win for me. But it's like a lot of hard work and dedication for something that I'm not brilliant at. And you can work on things. Posing. My posing lets me down. But that's one of those things you can work on. You can hire a posing coach. You can watch a million videos. You can practice day in, day out. My posing could go from here now to when I competed. If I was, say, to compete in August, like, it would improve if I practiced every day. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be competitive. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm going off on a massive tangent. I didn't want this video to be that long. But a few other points. So yeah, why I think it is in reaching distance is I'm the same weight now as like the heaviest I ever was in off season. But my body like, I do have a bit more muscle because I never stopped training. So I feel like I probably, if I was going to compete, say I was going to compete in, say, August, I probably have about 10 to 14 pounds to lose, which isn't hard, is it? That's what makes me think like, I could do it. So yeah, that a pound a week, like, that would be sooner than August, wouldn't it? And I definitely would look better than my last show. And right now, training's going really well. My calories are still reasonably high, and I'm dropping weight. My cardio's like easy peasy at the moment. So I feel like my first prep was, in terms of preps, relatively like easy. Like, prep is never going to be easy, but I didn't have to like literally work myself into the ground. My second prep, my body wasn't responding very well. I had to go keto, which is 0 carbs, and I was on a lot of cardio. Like, that prep was like killing me off. I believe if I was to prep this year, it would be nothing like that hard prep, and more like the first prep. So that's brilliant. When I prepped before I even got into prep, I lost my periods, which is really, really, really common in athletes, female athletes. But I lost my period like when I was way heavier than what I am now. My hormones must have been like whacked. And so it did like affect my health, and bodybuilding is an extreme sport. It affects like lots of people's health. Like, there's lots of girls that are now on thyroid medication for life, lots of girls who have got severe hair loss. Their hormones are completely out of whack. They still haven't got their periods back. Like, it can really affect you for a long time after. That's why you need to make sure you have a brilliant coach. Make sure you get your blood works done. Like, make sure you reverse properly to try and get your hormones back stable. And I honestly believe if I was to prep again this year, my health wouldn't suffer as much as what it did before, because I haven't lost my periods yet, and I lost my periods a lot heavier last time. I feel like I'm not putting my body under as much stress in the gym, like with loads of cardio and stuff like that. But you never know, and health is a big price to pay for something you're not brilliant at, like for a hobby. Do you know what I mean? To be competitive, I probably wouldn't be able to stay natural. Like, I don't know, people watching this, I don't know how clued up you are about bodybuilding, but like there's a lot of people aren't natural. So as an amateur, a natural amateur, I'd be going up against girls on steroids. And that's not something I want to do because of my health. Like, being a happy, healthy mum is my main priority. So, and then, all right, I'm going to try and wrap this up now because it's long. I'm not saying mums that compete aren't happy and healthy mums. I'm not saying that, because everybody's lifestyle and like support network at home is completely different, and everyone's prep is completely different. But for me, I don't know if I would be like the happiest and healthiest mum if I was to prep. But it does always play on my mind. Like, I would never want Kiki to grow up and be like, oh, my mum used to love bodybuilding and she won all these medals and she was doing really well. Like, I hope she didn't give it up for me. Like, that's not it at all. I just feel like I'm at a different place in my life at the moment. Another thing is money. Bodybuilding shows are not cheap at all. You've got like your tan, your makeup, your bikini, your entry to the shows. And I just feel like it's a lot of money to spend on myself. I've got a few holidays coming up and they're nothing special. Like, it's not like we're jetting off to Dubai. They're only little caravan holidays, but I'm just like, would I realistically... So when we normally go away a few times a year, and I take those weeks off. Those weeks I don't go to the gym. That would have killed me before, when I prepped before. When I was in prep before, we went to Santee in an all-inclusive hotel. I took my own food. Imagine, I took tofu in my hand luggage. I took my scales, like everything. I was on it. I went to the gym every day, did my cardio every day. Whereas now, when we go away, I see it as a break. I take a week off the gym, well, 4 days, whatever we do. We do always make our own food though. So it's not like, if I really, 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 really wanted to compete, it wouldn't be impossible. But I like enjoying our little holidays. Do you know what I mean? And what else? So there's one last thing. So right now I am in a really, really, really good place with like my training and diet and my mental health. So there was times that I probably had like disordered eating because of bodybuilding. It took a long, and I probably still do a bit now, but it took a long time to have like a good balance in my life with food and training and stuff. And I don't really want to risk like that. But I feel like my training and diet is going so well at the moment. I'm just going to keep going as I am. I want to cut at the moment, so I'm dropping weight. I don't want to get too much smaller, and I would like to build some more muscle. But I feel like everything I'm doing now is perfect anyway. If in the future I turned around and was like, do you know what, I do want to compete, I feel like I'd be in a really good place anyway, because I still live that bodybuilding lifestyle. I still train consistently. I still, my diet's still like consistent. It's high protein. It's like not too far off what I would be doing anyway. So I feel like later on in the year, if I had a light bulb moment and was like, do you know what, that is what I really, really, really want to do, and I'm going to dedicate my time to it. It's not like I'd be starting from like back down here. Like, everything I'm doing is moving me like in a good direction anyway. I just feel like you can still be a bodybuilder without having to compete, if that makes sense. But but I'm more like balanced now. So yeah, it would be cool. I remember getting off the stage in Alicante and was like, it was a relief, to be honest, because I was like, oh, thank God that's over. And that made me think, probably won't do this again. And then a few days went past and I was like, that wasn't my best. Like, I owe it to myself to bring my best next time. But then obviously I felt pregnant. And I always have the vision of me on stage in a blue bikini. And I'm like, what? Am I never going to get that chance? I have looked at shows. So I used to compete in ifbb, which is a high level. Like, don't get me wrong, all shows are high levels, but ifbb is the one that you would compete in if you wanted to turn pro. Then when you're a pro, you can compete to try and get a place at the Olympia. So it's like top level. And I'm like, I know I'm not competitive as such probably anymore. So maybe I could go for a more like less known show, quieter show, like where you don't have to be as lean, as muscular. So I have looked at those, to be honest. They're cheaper, which is a plus. Everyone that's competed with them always say how friendly they are, how much fun they are, because they're not like as dead serious. So that's like an option maybe for the future. But I just feel like your heart has to be 1,000,000% in it. And right now it's not. So yeah, we'll see. It's not a no, never, ever, ever, ever. But for now, I'm just happy doing my training and my like dieting, and like I just feel really happy and I feel healthy and I have loads of energy. Little one starts school next year, so who knows, it might be different. Like, I'm not saying this because I want to stay relevant, and people be like, oh, maybe she'll compete. I'm just telling you exactly how it is. Like, it's not a no, never, ever, ever, but it's probably a no. And right now I'm just completely happy supporting my friends. Some of my close friends still compete, and I'm still coached by my bodybuilding coach, Michelle. She's just lovely and supportive, and I know if I turn around and said to her I want to compete, she would back me and get me to that stage like she has twice before. But she's equally as good as like pushing me to my like how I want to be now. But obviously she coaches loads of competitors, so I'm perfectly happy just like cheering them on and living bodybuilding through them. And I'm perfectly happy just watching everybody else compete for now. And I still just love everything bikini. But like I say, it's not all positive, but we won't get into all that now. So yeah, that's it. And if you've got half an hour cardio to do, hopefully that killed the time for you. But I'd love to know if you're competing this year, or if you know anyone competing, or if that's it for you now. Bye.